This video shows how to install the Anaconda Python distribution on your computer. Now, if you don't know anything about Python and don't know how to program in Python, don't worry about this. This is just for the tax models themselves. They're programmed in Python. You can use the tax models to their full extent without having any idea what Python is about and no experience with any kind of Python programming. So the way we're going to do this is to start on the tax models homepage, and we're going to scroll down here to the installing section. I'm assuming that you've already done this first step, creating this directory where we're going to do the installation work. And what we're going to show here is the first step. And we're going to do the first bullet because we assume that the computer doesn't have the distribution installed already. So the way you do that is you go to the Anaconda webpage. Now we have to accept their cookie policy. So they're touting here that they have over 20 million users worldwide of their free open source individual edition. So you simply go down here and click download, and you can see that you get a choice of installers, Windows, Mac OS, or Linux. This works on any type of computer system. So if you're on Windows, for example, you'd click this 64-bit graphic installer. And what will happen is that will download the installer program, and then you run the installer program, and the installer actually installs the distribution. So it's sort of two-step process. We're going to skip this now because it's different on every operating system. The key thing to do when you're doing the installation on any of these three operating systems is to accept the recommendations from Anaconda. In particular, accept their recommendation that you're using this for your own personal use. That's critical. That's the way the default is. Don't change that. And simply go along with what they suggest. And do the default installation. Okay, so let's say we've gone to the bitter end, and that's going to take several minutes. So then the question is, how do we know we have a good installation? Well, you bring up the MYI directory the way it explains in the written directions, and we type Python. And you should get, this starts the Python interpreter, something that you're not ever going to be doing. But we just want to check that the key thing being is that we're seeing some recognition of the fact that we're using the Anaconda version of Python. The other details here, like what compiler was used and what operating system you're on, this is all specific here to a Mac. That's what I'm working on. Those things would look different on Windows, for example, or on Linux. So you can get out of this by exiting the interpreter and getting back to the command prompt that way. So that's it. You've got the Python distribution installed. The next video will talk about installing, first of all, the open source framework, and then the Malaysian personal income tax model.